So this is part two of sheep vlog, and unfortunately, kind of the last chapter of this part of sheep vlog for this foreseeable future. This was not the one I wanted to film, or honestly expected to film, but here we are. And I'm going to preface this by saying that laughter is a coping mechanism for me, so I don't really think this overall situation is funny. There's humorous aspects of it, but if I'm laughing, it's because I'm uncomfortable talking about it. So here's what happened. This is going to be kind of a cautionary tale, and what we did wrong, and what we plan to do in the future if we ever decide to try this again. So the sheep didn't arrive when I thought they would. They arrived after I left with my daughter to go visit my family, which was like a 2-hour plane ride away. So I wasn't here for any of the time that we had sheep. So this entire story is secondhand to me. The sheep showed up, and my partner Sam set them up in a different pen than what I had originally planned. The one I had planned was right close to the house. There were some problems with it, so him changing it was totally valid. However, I hadn't inspected that one, and I don't think he really did either. I went out later, well, earlier today, I guess, and checked it out, and in hindsight, there were definitely some spots that needed improvement. So he set them up in that pen, and initially it was fine. You know, they had lots of grass, they had water, they were fine. Sam introduced the dogs to them, not in the way that I would have, but he didn't know better, so it is what it is. He let the dogs in to meet them and chased them around. They got headbutted. He thought it was cute. It probably was, but it was not the best introduction to sheep. So that was mistake number one, was how the dogs were introduced to the sheep. Mistake number two, obviously, was we didn't inspect the pen properly to make sure that it was really secure. And anyway, so a few days later, Sam was home, and he heard this commotion coming from outside from the dogs. So he called them. They didn't come back, which is very unusual for our dogs. They usually come pretty quickly. And anyway, so he went to go see what was going on and found that the dogs had gotten into the pen and had attacked the sheep. One of the sheep was very badly injured. I won't go into detail, but it was really not in good shape. And in the commotion, the sheep headbutted through a 2x8 and escaped. So Sam got the dogs, brought them back inside, went to go look for the sheep, and saw it at the end of the driveway, and it took off. One of our neighbors helped him look for the sheep. They saw it a couple of times, but it was too fast and too panicked to get away, or to get caught. And honestly, we don't really know how to catch a sheep, so there were definitely some mistakes made there as well. Then when he went back to check on the other sheep, he found that it had also escaped, so we then had no sheep in the pen. He went out looking for them for quite a few hours, and no sign of them. They were gone. He went to sleep. He told me about this, so I went on to social media, which I don't normally do, but jumped onto Facebook and posted everywhere I could find in the area that these two sheep had gotten out, and that, like, if anyone saw them, please give us a shout. We could use all the help we could get. So I had a few friends come out to take a look around and see if they could find them, so thank you to those friends. I really appreciate that. Ultimately, we did find one of the sheep. It had gone up the road, kind of in the direction of where they used to live, so that was kind of where I suspected they would head, back to kind of an area that they knew. And because we did get them from a farm just up the road a little ways. And anyway, it got found on another property, which unfortunately was a bison farm, And bison, if you don't know too much about them, are very territorial creatures. They're not particularly kind to things coming into their area. So this one poor little sheep was surrounded by bison when the rancher who owned the bison found it, hopped on his quad, came in and rescued it. The poor thing had already been attacked by a bison and had a visibly broken leg. But he managed to catch that one and brought it back to us. So that was, again, huge thank you there. That was amazing of him. I, of course, was still in Victoria at the time, so Sam was dealing with this while I was trying to organize communication and stuff between people. I wasn't privy to the conversation there, but apparently it was, you know, it was kind of a rough situation, but our neighbor also came over and took a look at the sheep, and I guess like one of our neighbor's brothers or somebody, some sort of relation, was able to splint the leg, and he thinks it's probably going to heal pretty good, so that's good. And our other neighbor, who's also their daughter, offered to take the sheep off our hands because her and her daughter were really interested in raising it, and to be honest, we were clearly not ready for this. So they currently own the sheep and are looking after it, have named it Daisy, so that's kind of cute. I'd like to go over there and see it at some point, but probably won't be for another couple days. As for the other sheep, it has yet to be seen, so I'm guessing that, and by the way, this was the injured by the dogs sheep. It hasn't been seen, so I'm guessing it's coyote food at this point, unfortunately. So that was the end of that chapter of us having sheep. I didn't get home until a couple of days ago, and this was long over by then. So yeah, this was not how you want things to go with your livestock, obviously. We don't feel good about how it went. A lot of mistakes were made. A lot of lessons were learned. And part of making this video is to try and atone for that to some degree. But also to serve as a cautionary tale to anyone else trying to get sheep. We are not completely closing the door to doing this again in the future, but we obviously have a lot more preparation to do if we want to try it again. There is a 4-H show this weekend, so I'm hoping to get out there and see if I can talk to some sheep experts, maybe make some connections, learn whatever I can, and kind of do that at every opportunity actually as well. So see what we can learn, better prepare ourselves and not underestimate what we're up against with sheep in the future. And yeah, we'll do whatever we can to be better prepared for next time. So again, lots of learning to do, try and make some connections, and just better set up and inspect our pens to make sure that the animals will be safe and secure in the future. Yeah, so there's our current sheep story, where we're at. I may do some videos in the future, but I probably wouldn't expect them for at least another year. So anyway, if you're going to get sheep, make sure you know what you're up against, because we very clearly underestimated it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully someday I'll see you again in the future. The dogs keep getting out of their pen, so it's a work in progress, but we keep adding more to it so they can't get out. So this is the pen that the sheep were in, and on closer inspection there was definitely a few spots that could have been improved, where the dogs easily got in. It is what it is now, but lesson learned.